Week 3 of the NFL season is here, and the Ravens travel to Dallas on Sunday to play at 4:25 against the Cowboys. Now, both of these teams are coming off of a loss in Week 2 in their own stadiums. The Ravens lost in a fourth-quarter collapse to the Raiders, who only put up 10 points the week before against Jim Harbaugh's Chargers. The Cowboys were soundly beaten by Derek Carr and the New Orleans Saints, who've put up at least 40 points on each of their opponents. Either way you look at it, both of these teams are coming in with wounded pride, as well as a potentially early must-win game for both squads. Let's take a look at what both of these teams need to do to bounce back and get a win on Sunday. Let's get to it. Welcome in, everyone. This is Jordan with Ravens Flash Report, and for this week's preview video, we're mainly going to be discussing the strengths and weaknesses of these two teams and how they might be able to take advantage of each other and secure the win. As always, out of respect for any visiting viewers, we will be covering the Ravens' opponents first, starting with the Dallas offense and what their best way to win is, along with what the Ravens' defense might be able to exploit. Right now, the Dallas offense is a bit of an enigma. Week 1, they hang 33 on the Browns in Cleveland. The following game, they put up only 19 against the Saints at home. If the Cowboys want to have their way with the Ravens in Week 3, they'll need to find a way to do something that the Ravens' first two opponents weren't able to do: run the ball against them. I don't necessarily know how effective that would be, but if the Cowboys find a way to consistently get decent yards on early downs on the ground, the Ravens' defense has already shown a clear weakness when attacked through the air, ranking last in the league after 2 weeks in passing yards allowed. If the Cowboys can run the ball, it will also take some of the heat off of Dak Prescott in the pocket from what has been a very effective Ravens pass rush, who already have 7 sacks on the year. If the run game is going well, the Cowboys should feel pretty confident throwing to CeeDee Lamb, as the Ravens defense has yet to show the ability to cover a number 1 wide receiver this season. Both Rice in Week 1 and Adams in Week 2 went for over 100 yards and a touchdown against this Ravens secondary. As for the Ravens defense, their main goal in this game is going to be getting pressure on Dak Prescott. Dak has already been sacked 6 times, 3 in Week 1 and 3 in Week 2, and after throwing 2 picks last week against the Saints, the Ravens secondary will hopefully have its first good game of the year. Stopping the run has clearly been a point of emphasis for this Ravens defense, as they've held their opponents to under 50 yards on the ground per game. With Kyle Hamilton and Nate Wiggins limited in practice this week, which puts their game status at questionable, there's going to be a serious need for those that are playing to step up and make a statement in this game. I'm looking at you, Humphrey and Stevens. What I do expect is another stellar performance from this Ravens front 4 against a Dallas O-line who have 2 starting rookies of their own in center Cooper Beebe and left tackle Tyler Guyton. But now let's move on to the Ravens offense versus the Dallas defense and see if there's a way the Ravens can protect Lamar Jackson and secure their first win, or if Micah Parsons and the Dallas secondary cause the Ravens to continue their impersonation of the 2015 Ravens team and start the season 0-3. As long as Lamar Jackson is on the field, the Ravens always have a chance. That statement has proven true over the last 5 seasons, and Ravens fans need that hope watching their first 2 games slip away from them in the final few seconds. Now, I'm not going to beat a dead equine here by stating the issues that have plagued or seemingly plagued this Ravens team. If the Ravens want to win this game, they need to do just 2 things on offense: protect Lamar Jackson and run the ball down their throat over and over and over again. Lamar Jackson leads the entire NFL in total offensive yards through 2 weeks with 666 yards, and Derrick Henry was just getting started in last week's game before they stopped using him for some reason. The Dallas defense has given up 283 rushing yards on 58 attempts through 2 weeks, which ranks as 21st and 23rd in the league, respectively. That means they are allowing an average of 4.9 yards per attempt, which is also 23rd in the league. But more importantly for this Ravens offense, the Cowboys have allowed 5 rushing touchdowns, which makes them dead last through 2 weeks. Most of those yards and touchdowns came at the hands of Alvin Kamara and the Saints last week, who put up 190 on the day and 4 rushing touchdowns. But even in a dominant Dallas win against the Browns in Week 1, they allowed 93 yards on 19 attempts, which is still 4.9 yards per attempt and a touchdown. If Dallas wants to send the Ravens back to Baltimore with their tail feathers between their legs, they'll need to get to Lamar Jackson and punish him whenever he throws the ball. I mentioned earlier that the Ravens had 7 sacks on the year. Well, so does this Dallas defense, who had 4 in Week 1 and 3 last week. Both linebacker Eric Kendricks and defensive end DeMarcus Lawrence have 2 sacks each, and linebacker Micah Parsons continues to be a disrupting force for this defense as he has 7 tackles, 5 quarterback hits, and a sack so far. I have a feeling this game will come down to a few major points for each team. How well will each defensive line put pressure on the opposing quarterback? If Baltimore actually commits to the run game, can the Cowboys stop it? If the Cowboys can't run the ball, will the Ravens be able to stop another aerial assault involving a talented wide receiver like CeeDee Lamb? And will Lamar Jackson rely solely on Zay and Likely, or will he spread the ball around and be able to take advantage of matchups? While the run game for Baltimore is of course a potentially major strength for them in this game, Dallas would do well to not underestimate the Ravens' receivers and tight ends. While it is his job, Ravens fans ask a lot of offensive coordinator Todd Monken. There is a significant amount of offensive talent on this team, but balancing that talent and finding the best way to use it during a game can be difficult. If he can figure out a way to balance the workload between Lamar and Henry, involve both Likely and Andrews throughout the game, and find a rhythm to using Zay and Bateman together on the field, we may be able to get this extremely talented offense moving and playing like we know it can. All of this, mind you, behind a work-in-progress offensive line. With how both of these teams have played so far through 2 weeks, it's anyone's guess how this game will play out. Can Dallas take advantage of the Ravens' offensive line and banged-up porous secondary? Yes, I believe they can. Can the Ravens keep momentum throughout an entire game on offense, while at the same time stop the run without giving up too much in the fourth quarter on defense? Yes, they absolutely can. Let's not forget, when looking at this matchup, that Lamar Jackson is 20-1 against NFC teams in his career. The lack of opportunity and experience Dallas has against Lamar is absolutely a factor in this game, and one that Monken should take advantage of. Now, am I also 0-2 when giving score predictions this season? Yes. Will that stop me from giving another one for this game? Absolutely not. Although I'm not predicting a blowout, as I think this game will unfortunately for Baltimore fans be another close contest, I do believe the Baltimore Ravens will finally get their first win of the season, defeating the Cowboys on the road with a final score of 24-21. If you've enjoyed this game preview video and you're excited for the Ravens to get in the win column this week, go ahead and hit that like button. If you're new around here and want to get more Baltimore Ravens content throughout the season, subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications for video updates and post-game live streams. Finally, Ravens fans and Cowboy fans alike, go ahead and put your thoughts, score predictions, and potential stars of the game down in the comments section below. And as always, stay safe out there and go Ravens.